Greetings and welcome back to my channel. Today we'll be talking about Mariah Carey's 1997 release, Butterfly. Now today is a little special day because I don't actually have the regular sleeved vinyl. This is the picture disc which was released more recently. The original vinyl goes for a lot of money on eBay from 1997. A little backstory, vinyl really wasn't a thing in the 90s, especially in the USA. It went out of fashion and a lot of albums, great albums, weren't on vinyl, which is a shame because the 90s had a lot of good R&B and dance music which would sound amazing on vinyl. So something like Martha Walsh, who has a solo album, not on vinyl. Eventually I'll get to reviewing albums that are on vinyl or that I don't have because I just can't afford them or whatever. But this is what I have. Picture discs typically don't sound as good as the regular releases because the black vinyl itself is the original base of the sound. So anytime you put anything over it, it does mess with the sound a little bit. This actually sounds really good. So I would advise any fan of Mariah Carey to pick it up because it is good. And if you have questions if picture discs sound good or not, I would say yes, definitely get this. It's an amazing album, and it's weird because a lot of her albums are pretty rare on vinyl. Her new album Caution is out. You can pretty much find it anywhere, and her debut is pretty easy to find. But Music Box and Glitter, those can go for a lot of money online. I've never seen them in stores. I've seen her debut in stores. I've seen Caution, and that's honestly her new number ones compilation. I've seen that on vinyl as well. So she's for some reason she just doesn't have a lot of vinyl. She's like Toni Braxton. Toni Braxton, she doesn't have a lot of all her albums on vinyl, and then when they are, they're extremely rare. But anyways, I've just spent 3 minutes talking about vinyls. But let's get to the album itself. Any fan of Mariah Carey knows that she was married to Tommy Mottola in the mid-90s for about 4 years, and they divorced, and he controlled her career, and she was a massive success along with him. They had major hits such as Vision of Love, Hero, Fantasy, and One Sweet Day. Although she does write her own songs and she would collaborate with other producers, he was the manager, and he was also the CEO of Sony Music Records, which was the biggest that I can think of record company of the 90s. So she had a lot of backing with him, and he supported her a lot with her career. And once they divorced, it kind of seems like that support went away because Butterfly, I would argue, is her best album. It's both commercial and artistic at the same time, and it did not get the support that it deserved. I don't know what it was. There was videos. She was still on the radio. I don't know. We'll explain that during the review. But it just wasn't as supportive as her last album, Daydream, which did so well. She had 2 diamond albums in a row, Music Box from 93 and Daydream from 1995, with songs like Fantasy and Underneath the Stars and Always Be My Baby. It's a really good album, and then she upped the ante with the next album, and like I said in my Janet review, it was just 97 was a great era of music, 97, 98, where people who had played it safe pretty much all their careers kind of spread their wings and started to fly. No pun intended. Anyways, like Whitney Houston, Janet Jackson, Mariah Carey, they really went for it in terms of the content, in terms of the lyrics, in terms of the productions, and where they were willing to kind of go off the beaten path with these albums. And I definitely, and a lot of artists from this era, whether they're one-hit wonders or legends, it was just a good time for music. And unfortunately, a lot of people slept on these albums. Butterfly did not do nearly as well as Daydream. Although it was number 1, it did have 2 number 1 singles and spawned a worldwide tour. It wasn't the hit that Daydream and Music Box were. And that's rather unfortunate, and we'll tell you why a little bit. Which I think is weird, really odd, side note. So, since the divorce, Mariah Carey has come out to semi-allege abuse from Tommy Mottola, whether it be mental abuse or verbal abuse, kind of entrapment. And that's brave considering that he's so powerful and so rich, and It kind of makes you wonder, like, is she hiding other stuff? Like, did she know things about? I've always wondered about that. Kind of like a conspiracy theory, because people who mess with Sony, it doesn't end well. And that's what she did. Now she's currently signed up with them again. He's no longer the CEO, and she signed with them again now with Caution, which I'd love to review. I have that on vinyl. It's a great album for vinyl. I definitely suggest Caution. But either way, I just wanted to say that, like, I kind of wanted to know more. I mean, she does dive a little bit into her personal life on songs, like she did with Side Effects on her E equals MC Square album from 2008. But not really. I mean, she hints at stuff of, like, this entrapment and abuse, but I'd like to know kind of what really happened. I heard she's going to do a memoir. I'd like to read that and see if she kind of goes for it and really talks about what happened. Not for exploitation purposes, just to kind of know where she comes from, and kind of to help other people in that same situation. I would never want her to, just reveal things just to have gossip or, spill the tea, but actually, for just to really, like, understand where she's coming from as an artist and as a human being. Because ever since she left Sony, she's had tremendous success, and she's been more free and been herself, and her music has, I would argue, kind of just follow the Butterfly template overall. I know a lot of people are fans of Emancipation of Mimi. That's actually not my favorite album of hers at all. It's maybe like number 10. And I mean, it still kind of sounds like Butterfly. Like, but to me, it's like Butterfly without the soul. It's very, I think it's her most commercial record in terms of, like, well, of the 2000s. Like, she was very commercial in the 90s. But in terms of just, she was going for what was popular. It kind of reminds me of Confessions by Madonna, Confessions of a Dance Floor. These two albums by these artists who had done poorly in the past few years, they both released an album that did really, really well, and everybody loves them. Every fan, every non-fan, everyone I know likes Emancipation of Mimi. I'm just not quite a big fan of it, and I mean, I'm not here to say it's a bad album. It's not a bad album. It's just, to me, albums like Glitter, Caution, Butterfly, I think those really deserve it. And, like, I have Mariah Carey fan friends, and, they love Emancipation. And I know people who don't like Mariah Carey and they love Emancipation. But nobody really talks about Butterfly. I mean, it is a legendary album, don't get me wrong. People have heard of it. But it doesn't get the attention I think it deserves. And that's why we're talking about it today with its picture disc. So let's dive into the music. Since we don't have a typical sleeve, it does come with a little slip when you purchase this. So we'll go from that information. First song was Honey, which was, again, like, she has templates. And in 1993, she had Dream Lover, which was an R&B pop song that sampled another song as its basis. Then she had Fantasy, which was a pop R&B song that took another song and sampled it for its basis. Honey is the same thing. It takes actually two songs, samples them to create a new song as well as new lyrics and melody to be a really good, less tight. It's very loose feeling pop song. It's not as tightly structured as Fantasy or Dream Lover, but it's definitely great. It has great samples produced by Puff Daddy, who Puff Daddy's kind of known for just taking the sample as is and just adding a hip hop beat, and that's kind of what he does here. It's not gonna blow anyone away in terms of musicship or creativity, but the lyrics and the vocals are, they speak for themselves. And the song went to number 1. It was a big hit for her, although I would argue it wasn't nearly as big as Fantasy whatsoever. Worldwide or in America itself. I remember seeing the video and thinking, wow, she really, like, I mean, you should know, like, in the 90s, she was very covered and very demure and like the good girl next door. And Honey, she was in a bikini. She was jumping out of off a balcony in the pool and stripping. And she had, like, a tube top gear. And, like, when you're a kid and you see this drastic change in the artist, you're like, whoa. Either way, the song was good. It had to grow on me. It wasn't my favorite at first, but I do like it, and I think it's one of her best first singles. I wouldn't say it's one of her best songs, but I do like it a lot. It's a great opener, and it really gets you in the mood for the rest of it. It's very honey flavored. It's very sweet. There's like a funky, like a bass line type keyboard, and it's it's one of her. I think it's one of the best songs on the album. The next song is Butterfly, which is when she starts getting into personal territory. Butterfly is about a breakup, which since she had just gotten through a divorce, it was, it resonated a lot with her fans. And to this day, it's a classic with her fans. The song was not released as a physical single in '97, so it did not chart on the regular top 100. It did pretty well. I remember seeing the video on VH1. It's a beautiful ballad. I'm going to compare it to Hero or One Sweet Day, but it's a lot more organic. I think it's a lot more real. I think she really, really cared about the content. And she's very vulnerable in the song. I don't think she was quite as vulnerable in Hero or One Sweet Day. But if you listen to Butterfly, it's just beautiful. Like, it's so gorgeous. And it is a pop ballad, but there's so much more. There's gospel to it. It's a little more stripped down. It's not as polished as One Sweet Day. And I don't think she was gunning for a hit. I think she was just, doing a song that she loved. Actually, Butterfly started out as a house song with David Morales, a remixer she had worked with so many times, making amazing remixes, the best. In fact, please Google Mariah Carey, David Morales, and just listen to all those songs. Just all of them. Doesn't matter, just listen to them. Just do that right now. You need to do that right now. But she liked how the lyrical structure was and the content, and decided to make it a ballad, a pop ballad. So it's a great one, definitely one of the best songs of 1997, and that's saying a lot because that was a great year for music. Check it out. Make that the first song you check out. I wouldn't say it's the best song on the album, we'll get to that, but it's definitely one of them. So far you have 5 stars on both Honey and Butterfly, but Butterfly has an extra something I just love. The next song is My All, which is her first Latin vibe type song. It has, what they did was they recorded acoustic guitar on a keyboard and played the keyboard as the production. So it sounds like a guitar, but it's not a guitar. It's a keyboard, I guess synthesizer guitar based on the recording. My All was the first single of hers that I bought, actually, when I was a kid. It was a great song. The video was shot by Herb Ritz, and went to #1. Since it was a physical single, it did go #1. Again, Morales remixed it. He also remixed Honey, by the way, so check that out. Check them both. Check all of them out. Just check them out. My All is like a Latin Puerto Rican vibe. Not really Puerto Rican. She wrote in Puerto Rico, but it doesn't really have that vibe. It's very beautiful, very smooth and soft. It's definitely one of the best songs of her career. Definitely remembered. I know a lot of, like, Jennifer Lopez openly said, I love My All by Mariah Carey years later when that whole I don't know her thing was happening, which I don't understand. I do understand that, but we'll get to that too. My All, I think, is like a very strong song. You have 3 songs in a row, just amazing. Like, it's like a greatest hits right now because you have 3 hit-worthy songs, and these songs deserve to be hits. Butterfly, like I said, Butterfly wasn't a huge hit, but it was a video, it was a single, and it's usually on compilations of hers. It was on the greatest hits in the 2000s, and it's definitely remembered. The next one's My Roof, The Roof, My All. The Roof was I believe the 5th single, and it definitely changed her sound a lot. It sampled the song Shook Ones, which is a very violent rap song from the 90s, and hold on, I actually have to I can't remember who it's by. It doesn't say. Okay. Okay, so anyways, The Roof was, I would say, the first video I saw of hers. I was like, wow, beautiful video, very somber, and evokes the feelings of loneliness and just boredom and restlessness. Not that the video is boring, just that it evokes that she's looking. There's something to be. There's something that it's deep inside of her that she wants to come out. The song is about reminiscing, and this is another template of hers because she had Long Ago from her Daydream album, which is about reminiscing. And then later on, she had songs like on Charm Bracelet, a lot of songs actually, a few of them, about reminiscing. And they're always these mid-tempo, kind of down-tempo R&B tracks with a little bit of hip-hop vibe. She has a lot of them, but I really, really like her reminiscing songs. If Mariah Carey has a song about reminiscing, I'm for it. It's always well done. The Roof doesn't have loud chorus. It's very background, very soft and smooth and demure, but it's gorgeous. It's very hypnotizing and definitely one of her best songs. I would say "The Roof" is the second best song on the album. I know a lot of people may not agree. I know Mariah Carey hasn't really performed a lot because it's like I said, it's not really a you don't belt it. You don't even really sing it. It's very, you know, and I think it's one of her best songs. It did not get a single release, but it is a good song. It didn't chart, obviously, because there's no single release. But they did change those rules later, but for then it just wasn't. I never heard on the radio. It's not a very radio-friendly song, but they did do a video for it. So I guess, so Sony, like, they funded the videos, I guess based on her past success, but they certainly didn't release them to radio on singles, which at the time was like essential. I guess they wanted to sell the album, which things were kind of changing in the late '90s where they would stop selling singles to make you kind of buy the album, which I don't think is great because with singles you can have remixes and B-sides and collect it and stuff, and then you can still. I bought My All as a single, and then I bought the album like as a kid, so I don't understand that quite. But whatever. Anyways, the next song is 4th of July, which, again, template. This follows, I'd say, the lead of Underneath the Stars, a 1995 song at first from Daydream, which is very Minnie Riperton, very soulful, smooth R&B, very laid back, very sweet, like a bird, like very innocent sounding, very sexy at the same time, if that makes sense at all. Sexy and innocent in not innocent and like pure, but innocent as in just like opening your eyes to something new, like experience. And it's a beautiful song. It's about the 4th of July. It's another song about reminiscing, but not as much, whereas The Roof is like hardcore about it. 4th of July is just a great sweet song, and it definitely got influenced by Underneath the Stars, which again was not a physical single, so maybe she wanted this one to be, I'm not sure. But either way, it's one of my favorites on the album. So you have 5 for 5 already. 5 great songs on the album. Next song is Breakdown, which she did with Bone Thugs and Harmony. This is her best rap collaboration up to this point. She had done a song with ODB, Fantasy, which I do like, but it's not my favorite. This song, she really emulates them. She emulates their rap with the melody of the song itself. It's written in a way with the same chords and same vocal effects and production as they do. So you have the same dubbing, you have the same, like, she studied. She did her homework when she worked with them. She didn't just say, hey guys, can you do a spot on my album? No, she loved them. You can tell she loved them, and she wanted to do a song that would mesh with them. It's way better than the Boyz II Men duet. So much better, because she truly, like, it's such a good song. It's about heartbreak. And moving on, basically. Like, she's having a breakdown and crying because of, the relationship that has ended. And I think it's just such a great, successful song. It's very down-tempo, again, mid-tempo, R&B, a little bit of hip-hop. Definitely, if you're a fan of Hero and Vision of Love, this is a new Mariah completely. I think Breakdown, I don't know if it's her most hip-hop song on the album. There's a few, but it's definitely one of her best. Again, Breakdown. So you have 6 songs. Side A is just nothing but amazing. If you please buy this, it's only like $20. It is amazing. The A side is so amazing. It's like a greatest hits. It's like it's a must-have, and I definitely think you should check it out. The next song is where things kind of take a little turn. After I just told you to buy it, which I do want you to buy it. The B-side starts off with Baby Doll, which was produced with Missy Elliott, who was up and coming at the time. She had worked with Aaliyah, and she had her own girl group, and then she was about to go solo with, like, Can't Stand the Rain and all those songs. Even though I like Missy Elliott from '97, I had that album, like Sock It To Me and Hit 'Em With the Heat, great songs. Baby Doll isn't quite as successful as the rest of the album. And it's not just because I'm comparing it. Obviously, we've had 6 great songs in a row. I just think that Baby Doll wasn't either of their peaks. So I don't think Missy Elliott wasn't her peak, and I don't think that Mariah's peak was with Baby Doll either. It's a good kind of mid-tempo, like, sultry R&B ballad. It's I would compare it to like Crybaby, which she released on her Rainbow album. It's good. It's good. It's not something I would skip. I'd probably give it like a 3 out of 5 or a 6 out of 10. I can do math. Okay, so the next song is "Close My Eyes," which this "Close My Eyes" brings the album back to its perfect level. "Close My Eyes" is a song about her as a child and things she saw. If I don't know if you know, but she did have a hard childhood, and her sister did become a prostitute who contracted HIV later in life, and it only makes me wonder, like, what did Mariah see? Like, what did she see? Like, what did she experience? Because there's a lot of heartbreak in the song. It's one of her, I would say, one of her realest songs, and it's very beautiful. It's very lush. It's very beautiful. Well done. Very classy, but it's just it really goes for it. It really makes you not feel sorry for her, but I think it makes you relate to Mariah, because I think most people have experienced or seen things that they probably shouldn't have as children, and that's kind of like their song. Like, she doesn't specify what happens or what she saw, but whatever it was, I think it's something that you can, like, okay, I can relate to that in some way or another. I think it's the most relatable song on the album, and one of them that she's ever done. But it's a very beautiful song. Next song is "Whenever You Call," which she later did with Brian McKnight, and I think that was a good version. I think it's a little bit better. I like Brian McKnight. I like the way he sings. He's a talented singer, and he adds to it without overtaking anything. By herself, "Whenever You Call," I think is much better. It's a very sweet song. It's about relationships, and I would say it's the most hero-ish on the album. But definitely beautiful. Again, I think with this album, she knew what she was good at, and wanted to kind of go with that. Like she has great songs that are very produced, like "Can't Let Go" and "Vision of Love." Like they're very pop radio, but they're really good. And this song, "Whenever You Call," is kind of like that. And I think she was trying to mature that sound of like "Can't Let Go" and like the songs from Music Box. Like, I think she was just trying to evolve her sound, and she did a really good job on that. It's not my favorite on the album, but I do like it, and I think that you should check it out. Definitely not one to skip. It's very emotional, very beautiful, and it, like, you can tell she loved Tommy, but it was time to move on, basically, and for her reasons. But even if you have your reasons to move on from someone, it doesn't like cut off all emotions for the most part. Most people aren't robots, so they aren't. The next song is my favorite on the album, "Fly Away," the Butterfly reprise, which was done with David Morales. It is a house, well, it's like a deep house remix of Butterfly, but they changed the lyrics and they changed some of the structure. There's a long version that was released on the single, and then later on her remix compilation in the 2000s. It's an amazing song. It brings the house down. It's such a great dance song for the clubs, for like dancing, for just enjoying. It's so well done. I think it's probably her best song. And I know a lot of people will not agree with me whatsoever, but I love the song. And I think it's one of her best, I think it's her best. I can listen to it over and over, and I love that kind of music. But David Morales really just went for it. It's great. There's nothing annoying about it. There's nothing to cut. There's nothing to change. It's just gorgeous. And then after all, this entire album to really be the best, in my opinion, it's just wow. And it's just a simple dance song. So for him to do that, and along with her, it's amazing. If you like the song Butterfly, you'll like the remix. And if you like the remix, I think you'll like the song Butterfly. There were other remixes for Butterfly. They're pretty good. Definitely check those out as well. She had a lot of good remixes in the 90s. But this one right here it's not a remix, it's a reprise, which she had done also in Daydream with the Daydream reprise with David Morales, and that one's amazing too. So she had a lot of great reprises, actually only two. But definitely check that one out for sure. Please download it right now. Alright, so I've been pretty sweet as honey for the whole album. There's 2 more songs. "The Beautiful Ones," which is a cover of the Prince song from the album Purple Rain from '84. It's not a horrible song, and she does usually cover. She did a cover on Music Box. She did a cover on Daydream, and she's done many covers of '80s classics. or even 80s songs overall, just since '93. And I would say this is her least successful cover. One, you're going for Prince. Two, she has Drew Hill collaborating. And Cisco, the guy who did the Thong Song, he is just belting the entire time. And it does not work for the song. It's a very understated song. It's a very mechanical, Robotnik R&B song. And for someone to just let loose like you're a male Aretha Franklin on that song doesn't really work. It doesn't work. So I was quite disappointed when especially because it's right after Fly Away. So I would have done, like, I don't know. I think I would have just cut it. Honestly, I'm not a big fan of it. And it's not her worst song ever, but it's definitely not her best. Check it out just for your own opinion. Let me know what you think about it, because I'm curious. Do people like that song? I'm not sure. The last song is Outside, which is, again, another template where Daydream had Looking In, the last song. And, Petals from Rainbow and her current album Caution has Portrait. Basically, little bit more sullen songs about her life, and that kind of go deeper into like her emotional state growing up. And this one I would say is also her least successful of that bunch, especially if you compare this to Portrait or Petals. Outside is just not a great song. It has this bridge where she's saying it's hard and it's hard and it's, I don't know. To me, it's just not a great ending. I would have ended probably with I would have made the album 2 songs shorter, and ended with Wherever You Call, Whenever You Call, or Butterfly. I don't know anything about B-sides for the album. I never saw any. I think the project was pretty tight. And then she followed this up with Rainbow, which has a kind of newer sound than Butterfly. So I kind of think like a 10-track album for this would have been like one of the best 90s albums of all time. It still is, but it's just the last 2 songs kind of ruin the vibe. But, in streaming days, you don't have to listen to the songs you don't like. But on the vinyl, they are there. But they are the last 2 songs, so you can always, turn the vinyl off. Either way, I love this album. I think you should get it. Like I said, it's like $20. Picture disc, which I love picture discs. I think they're amazing. The back is just the butterfly and then like a honey-colored vinyl. And then I like this picture, but I also like the picture where she has her eyes closed and the hair is flowing up. That was an alternative album cover. And then I'm going to show you, it comes with this. This is the album cover I actually prefer. Just a note from Mariah, just for the special edition. And then the songwriting credits. Mariah Carey writes all her songs unless they're covers. She writes the lyrics and the melody, and then collaborates with the producers on the music. Especially back then. Back then there was like 1 or 2 songwriters. Now you have like 6 or 7 songwriters per song. I don't understand that, because in the streaming age, doesn't it make more sense to have less songwriters, because everybody has to get a piece of the pie, and with streaming you're not making as much pie. So either way, let me know what you think about the album in the comments. I'm a big Mariah Carey fan, and I do plan to do more Mariah Carey reviews soon. Let me know what you think about the album, your favorite songs, your least favorite songs, any comments you have on the video, and if you like the video, like it, and if you loved it, please subscribe and comment, and thank you very much, and go on and spread your wings.